This Polaris is hitting the wall and not moving once it hits the wall. So it's getting jammed against the wall in the pool. So I'll show you how to change all 8 bearings in there. So you're going to need a screwdriver. You're going to need a little screwdriver to kind of get those E-clips off the wheels. You're going to need bearings. Depending on how many you're going to change, you can do 4 or 8. So let's take this thing apart. First you want to take this float weight off the back. And it just pulls right off. It's not screwed in there or anything. And here's one way this comes off. There's also an alternate one with the clip. I'll show you that one after I get this one off. This one's fairly easy. It just splits apart. Once you get that screw out, the body comes apart. I'm going to take these 2 screws off the back and get the body off. And this particular Polaris has a clamp up front. You just push it in and you just pull the body off. And the body just comes right off. So in order to do this, we need to get the body out of the bottom. I'll show you how to do that right now. And there are 4 screws that are holding it together. One here, one back here, and one way in the back here. And sometimes the screw is blocked by this here, but in this case, this particular model, you can actually access it pretty easily. When we take this one off, you want to check the gears and make sure everything's good. Usually the gears last a long time. I haven't had to replace them on Polaris very often. They're really durable. Okay, now in order to get this up and over, we need to take off this assembly here. There's 3 screws holding it on, so it's pretty easy to take off. And now that you got the screws out, it should pull right out. There's a black O-ring on the bottom, make sure that stays on. Good idea to put the screws somewhere where you don't lose them. And you have to kind of tilt it a little bit back first, and then you can pull right out. And it's a good idea to check the tubings while you have it out. These are all good. I just fixed this one recently. Okay, so the bearings are located. There's one here, there's one on this side, there's one over here for this wheel. It's right here on the inside. And there's one more right here in the shaft, drive shaft area. And then each wheel has 2 on the side. It's a good idea to check the belt too. This one looks fairly good. It was changed not too long ago. It just needs to be tightened up a little bit. I'm going to do the 2 outer wheels first since they're easier. So what we're going to do is we're going to loosen these here. We're going to loosen those right there. We'll get the wheels off. And you don't have to take them all the way off. You just want to loosen them up so we can get the belt off. And the wheels should pop right off. Okay, now we're going to turn it over on the side like this. We're going to take the hubcaps off. And we're going to take these little E-clips off here. This one's already off, and this one. I'll get this one off. And basically you can just get a screwdriver like this and you can pretty much just pop them right off. And it should come off fairly easily. Now we turn it back on the side and we'll just remove this belt here in the back and the one on the front. Since these are loose, they should slide off really easily. Now we can pull the wheel off. And the wheel should just come right off towards you. Let's hold this here. And that should pop off like that. I'll do this one here on this side. And so if these bearings are discolored like this, they're definitely old and need to be replaced. I'll go ahead and replace them. This one actually just came right out by itself. And they're real easy to get out. You just put the screwdriver here and you can pop them out towards you. There you go. And you just push the new ones in and they fit right in there like that. So I'll change all 4 of them. There's 2 more on this. There's one on this side and one on this side also. Again, they just pop out with a screwdriver. Okay, so the next bearings I'm going to do is this one here and this one right here in the single wheel. So let me get these out. And the same concept. We pop the hubcap off, and we have the E-clip. We'll just get this off here. And once you get the E-clip off, this wheel should just come right off. You'll see the bearing right here. And there's another E-clip holding on this drive shaft here, so I'm going to go ahead and pop it off real quick. So I got that one off. Again, it's right here, and it's by this gear. So now you should be able to pull the drive shaft out, and we'll get those 2 bearings. So while you do this, you might want to replace the drive shaft bearing. And there's a bearing here for the wheel on this side. I'll pop that one out. And there's another bearing here. There's also a special drive shaft bearing for this gear that can be replaced also. I'll pull it out so you can see it. It's a special bearing. If you order the gear rebuild kit, it comes with that bearing. So let me go ahead and get the single wheel bearing out, and I'll change that one. It's pretty worn out. And I'll go ahead and put the new one in here. Okay. And I'm going to pull the drive shaft through, and should be able to get to the other bearing now, right here. See, this one's really worn out also. Okay, and I'm going to put the drive shaft back through here, and back through this gear. And we want to slide it till this is snug against the gear so we can get the E-clip right back in there. I'm going to push that there. You'll see a little notch where the E-clip sits into. And so I've got that clip back on there. I'm going to get this bearing here. I'm going to get this E-clip off. It's the other bearing on this side here next to the single wheel. Okay, so I got that clip off there. And there's actually another one right there on that gear. And of course the one right here on this inside bearing. You can see it there. I'm going to get this clip off here. Okay, I got that clip off, and I'm going to get this one off here. Now I'm going to slide this side through, and I'll get this bearing out. And you should be able to pop this bearing out from the inside. Get that one out, and I'll put the new one on. So now I'm going to put the E-clips back on here. I'll put this one on first. And I put the outer one on. So I got all three back on. This one, the one on the gear, and one over there. I got a little bit of a cut. Let me clean up real quick. And it's getting a little dark out here, so I'm going to take it in and rebuild it inside. But I've changed all four of the bearings there. So we got that one there, that one, and those two. And I'll take it inside and put it back together. And I'm going to reattach this wheel, the single wheel on this side. I'll turn over here and I'll put the wheel back on. And it should have enough room to put that E-clamp back on, E-clip. You can push on this a little bit to kind of give you a little more slack. And I'm going to go ahead and put that one on. And depending on how worn out the E-clips are, you may need to get a new set. This is the only thing holding the Polaris together basically, so if these come off, this wheel will come actually off the Polaris, so you want to make sure that these are in good condition. So again, you can replace these if necessary. And we go ahead and put the hubcap back on the single wheel. Now we can put the other wheels back on, the two here, so you want to put the belt on here, and we'll kind of stretch it onto the pulley in the middle. I want to make sure that the divider is right in the middle. One belt goes on each side of it. You can start over here and kind of stretch it and get it over this part of the wheel. I think it's a little bit easier that way. And we'll do the same thing with the back wheel. Kind of stretch it and pull it over. A little bit easier that way. And when you're done, it should look something like this. And we'll go ahead and tighten these up. You want to kind of push forward, kind of hold that in position while you screw it on, that way it's tight. I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. And it should look something like this where the belt is on there tight. This is snug in the corner. Again, I just use a screwdriver and I kind of push it on there. It should snap right in. We'll put the plastic hubcaps back on. And everything's back together. And I'm going to go ahead and set it back in the body of the Polaris. Again, it should go in pretty easily. You want to just kind of go up front a little bit and we'll pull it up. Let me position it in here. Slide it down. And it should go back in fairly easily. So I'm going to get those 4 screws and reattach them. Okay, so I put those screws back in, and when you get to this one here where the gears are, make sure you put the shield on first. And then we'll put that screw in there to kind of hold that on. That should fit on there pretty snug. Let's screw it in. Now we're ready to put the assembly back in. Let's put the assembly back in here. Goes in one direction. Goes in this way. And the screws go on one side only also. Make sure it's in there good at the bottom. I'm going to put the float weight back on. You want it about an inch from here, from the body. You want to make sure that this jet is actually in the middle also. And so everything's ready, and I'm going to put it back in and see how it does. See, it's doing really good. Able to turn out of those corners really well. It's actually climbing really high on the wall now too. So I changed that, those bearings. So it's got plenty of RPMs heading towards another wall here. You'll see it just climb and turn, no problems. You see that solved the problem really well. Got squirted there. And by changing all 8 bearings in this Polaris, I've got it operational and it's leaving this spool pretty much spotless again.